Three simple things that has changed me in my life that I want to share with you. And although they're simple, um, they're not easy to execute in that it is something that you have to thread into your life daily. It can't be something that you do once, right? Like sit ups. Sit ups once is going to do nothing. All right. So here we go. Number one, seek nectar. And I believe I have. Oh, I do. I have all these tattooed on me as bookmarks and reminders. I use my body as a canvas, and I use ink as dog-eared pages of my story. Okay, so seek nectar, and I have a hummingbird tattooed on my left bicep as a reminder to seek nectar. Joy is produced, not presented. This means we must search for it daily. We must have the ability to find it in simple things, small as well as big, by taking what you already have and squeezing joy out of it. You will be able to practice more gratitude and live at a higher frequency. It will help you stay in an attracting state instead of a chasing one. And I want to explain this. I want to explain more of, I don't know if the word is science, but how this works. I know a lot of people talk about joy and producing joy, and you need more joy in your life. But I want to talk about why and how this works. So for most of my life, 20s, half of my 30s, zero joy. My mindset was set on productivity, go build something, go land deals, go make money, go buy things. And I was miserable, right? I wasn't able to produce joy from what I had. Instead, I was obsessed with chasing something that was in the future. And because it wasn't in my life, I didn't allow myself to be happy. I hit pause on my life, which I always talk about. So, after my rebirth, after my divorce, after being stripped with everything because I had nothing, I was given no choice. I either um, crafted the ability to produce joy with what I had, or I would be miserable. And so I started to do things in my day to day that made me happy, right? That made me drop into my body and feel good, even if it was for a few seconds. And so for me, what that was um, fitness. I found a lot of joy in fitness, not just moving and working out, but the experience of the whole thing, like the social engagement, the structure of it, getting excited about the programming, the whole experience of fitness, not just like doing burpees, right? And then going into it with the mental challenge to myself that every day I'll give myself a new experience, whether that is pushing myself harder than I've ever pushed myself or a new type of fitness, right? So if I'm used to functional fitness, maybe today I will go on a hike and lean into that, or go for a swim, or don't do that, but just sit in a tub of ice, right? And label that as my daily sweat. I know ice doesn't produce sweat, but you know what I mean. And that was a huge part of my life that didn't cost a lot of money, that produced joy. Another thing was motorcycles. I've had six now, but I bought a motorcycle, and I spent a lot of time alone, hugging canyons. And there's a moment in when you're riding a motorcycle where you forget that you're on one, and this is where like you and the bike become one. And this is when you're just like, it just feels like you're flying, right? This is what I'm addicted to. And then I got into dirt bikes. I got into um, writing. That can produce joy, although it's a love-hate relationship. Journaling, and I'm thinking about things that don't cost money. I'm thinking about things that we can do that doesn't require an exotic trip somewhere. A donut. I know. It sounds silly, but seriously, a donut. Finding the best donut shop in Los Angeles. There's a place in, I believe it's Echo Park. No, it's Eagle Rock. Anyway, there's a place called Donut Friend, and it's worth the drive. They make the best donuts, I think, in LA. And I would get a donut or two, have my headphones, right? So I'm listening to um, perhaps The Cure, Depeche Mode, something that reminds me of um, a good time in my life. So whether it's high school, summer camp, something that is nostalgic, something that brings me back. You will catch me blasting Madonna's Borderline or Holiday, old school Madonna from the 80s, while I'm riding this giant Road Glide Harley. And the image is interesting because people on Harleys don't roll up, especially Harleys with radios blasting Madonna, but I do. And I do that because nothing takes you back faster than music, And so going back to the sample of a donut, and you're not having 15 donuts, right? That's not nectar, that's numbing. Um, Having a donut, listening to a song that takes you back to a good place, a happy place, and just being super mindful and present, And so tasting the donut with the sip of coffee, listening to whatever it is that brings you back, and Talking Heads, a Talking Heads song, um, Thompson Twins. Man, I could go way back, but sitting in that, and then trying to get out of your head and be mindful and enjoy as a practice, right? So I'm using that as an example because it's so simple. It's a song and a donut, right? And for most people, that's just whatever. That's not going to bring them joy. But if you could train yourself to allow things like that to produce joy as a practice, I'm telling you, it will put you on a higher frequency, and you won't just be chasing people and Porsches and fancy houses. And it's okay to want those things, right? I'm a gearhead. I definitely will have or want a 911, preferably from the 90s. And those today are like 200 grand. But anyway, uh, and I have an emotional story and attachment to those cars. But it's not about not wanting things. It's about taking what you have today, whether they are things like that or friendships or whatever it is, and sitting in the experience, knowing that your life isn't that bad because you do have things. So that's seeking nectar. Next one is love hard, and I have this tattooed on my right arm. Not only romantic partners, everyone, love is our superpower. We must use it daily or it will fade, right? We must stretch our hearts as well as our legs. And the way that you do this is to love bigger than you, right? Loving hard isn't just like, oh, I'm going to love you with everything until I lose myself. That's not what I'm talking about. Love greater than yourself, love greater than your ego, love until it hurts, love until it hurts, and then you feel love until you feel stupid, because when you feel stupid, it means you're being vulnerable, it means you're showing yourself. Love past that until you feel powerful. I think there's a tipping point with love, right? There's this surface love that that we do, and it feels good, and it's a little false, meaning there is some tap dancing, there is some presentation, and then you go deeper and you start to love where you feel naked. You start to feel stupid, silly. You start to judge yourself. And that just means that you're doing something courageous, right? That just means that you are showing yourself and you're being vulnerable. And then love past that, meaning bigger than you. Now you're stretching. Now it hurts. Now it's terrifying. And now you're breaking patterns. And now you're loving in a way where love is a power. Love is an energy. Love is this thing that is working through you, and you are a conduit to love. You are a prism. And no matter who you love, whether it's friends, family, strangers, or your partner, then you can experience something greater than you. And the practice of this will shrink your ego and make you believe that you're less alone on this planet. So love hard. And the final thing is resist nothing. This is my first tattoo. Actually, it's my second tattoo. And I remember when I got it, it was huge, typewriter font on my forearm. And you know, when you first get a tattoo, it's shiny. And that shit was just, I went to a party right after getting the tattoo, and it was so shiny, wrapped in plastic. And of course, it's instantly noticeable. And you know, when you get a really bad haircut and people come up to you and they're like, oh, you got a haircut. And that's all they say. They just announce the fact that you got it, but they don't give you any opinions on it because it's horrible. I got that at the party. Oh, wow, you got a tattoo, period. Oh, you got a tattoo, period. And I remember feeling so insecure, embarrassed. And I was thinking, what did I do? I just got this giant sign on my forearm that says resist nothing. People are going to think I'm nuts. Anyway, the reason I got that tattoo is because our resistance is where we have the richest soil for growth. This is my belief. Of course, there are things that we should resist, right? Like toxic relationships, for example. But I'm talking about resisting things we know we should lean into because a better version of us, a more authentic version of us, our solid self, lives on the other side of that resistance. We resist because we are afraid or we don't believe. Resisting means you're fighting the universe. Our resistance reveals the path we must embark on to reach our purpose. So it's almost like our resistance can be the prescription. Our resistance is, the radar, the map, the compass. And so whenever I resist something or I feel the resistance, and it could be, resisting a conversation, resisting a person, resisting, something I need to do for work, any resistance, sit with it instead of reacting, because I used to just react. Sit with it. Where is it coming from? Explore it. Why are you resisting it? And then if you realize that resisting is coming from a place of fear or a place of lacking or a place of false beliefs or anything like that, then that is the prescription. Then you lean into it. And in that, there will be growth. So these are my tips today to better your life. And what I love about these tips is that it's not something you do once. It's something you do daily, by threading these into your life. And every day I remind myself to seek nectar and to love hard and to resist nothing. And if you do this and you do this for a long time and you do it honestly, I'm telling you, it will change you from the inside out. It will give you new lenses and it will put you on a higher frequency. You won't be living in worry and dread, the two states that I lived in for the most of my life. And instead of chasing, you will start attracting. Thank you for listening. Be well. Oh, I wanted to say before you go, I've been texting people for about 5 years now, and I haven't found a service that I really, that had like international numbers. So all my texting has been limited, but people really seem to like it. They seem to like seeing something on their phone when they wake up that's going to help them with their mindset, or it's a reminder, or maybe it's something from my book. So I'm launching TAT Text Plus because I finally found a platform that's going to give you everything. I'm not just texting out to international numbers anymore. I'm also texting out exclusive audio clips, things that are not in my podcast, little thoughts that I document through the day. I'm texting exclusive videos. I'm texting out Google Docs, and I'm texting out Zoom links to a monthly gather where you could hang out with me live with the community, Q&A, check in, follow each other's stories, and all of it for the price of lunch. So this is something that I just launched. So you could just go to my Instagram at The Angry Therapist and click my bio link, or go to my website, theangrytherapist.com, and you could have mental health programming in your pocket. Thank you for listening. Be well.